Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 809. Now, in today's episode, we're talking about how one word alone, can transform how you experience your whole day. Now, how can one word really transform everything? Now, before I get to that word, I want to be able to just quickly consider how we ultimately make changes in our world. You see, if you think about yourself in this world and your relationship to the world, you see the world through a certain lens. Now, you may see it in such a way through distortion, deletions, and generalizations. By like a generalization, I kind of mean like when you go, well, this always happens to me. All relationships are bad. All X, Y, Z. We take one thing, maybe a bad experience, and then generalize it for our whole future. That's a form of generalization. We can distort information. We can delete aspects of information around us based on the events that we've been through. So think about your brain as being this decipher, like this decoding of hopefully what the truth is. But sometimes things go wrong, and it happens in a negative way. So if we think about it in terms of the words that we say to ourselves, the meaning that we have causes that to be a form of reality. It may not, it may do if we go out there in the most wonderful ways of thinking, the interconnectivity of the universe or the world and those that you surround yourself with. But even if it wasn't that, the words that you tell yourself define your stories, and those stories you play out in reality. So if you keep on saying certain things, certain stories, certain ideas, the inner critic, saying that you're not good enough, worthy, or deserving, all those things, it becomes almost as if we assume it to be true and therefore project it into our world. So just know that from the beginning, that how you see the world changes the world. How you believe about yourself in this world, or what you believe about the world, changes the world in your perception. The meanings have meaning. So let's take some of the things that we may say on a daily basis. These are the words like, or sentences, and then the specific words of, I need to fill in the blank. I need to go to work. I need to work out. I need to eat healthy today. I need to get up early. I need to do X, Y, Z chore. I have to go here. I have to do X, Y, Z. If you think about that as a sentence, it is so limiting. It comes from scarcity. It comes from it doesn't have to be even like doubt. It could be. If you don't believe you're good enough, you might be going, well, I need to go and present, and it's not going to be that good. So it can be negative based on the beliefs that we have, but it can be about anything. You need to, I have to, I've got to. All of those things are necessities. We feel like it's a necessity to do something. But really, I want to change the frame of that reference. And it's simply by changing the need, the have to, the got to, those words. And in your mind, just change it to get. I get to. I get to. I get to. I don't need to. I don't have to. I get to. Now, why is that so important? You see, once I've been applying this simple strategy, this simple one change in my vocabulary on the internal mind, it changes my whole physiology. Go ahead and try it out for a second. Think about something that you need to do, where you feel a little bit down about it, or you feel a little bit kind of like depressed about it, or you feel a little bit like it's a stress and it's a strain and it has that negative energy of like, oh, I've got to go to work. I've got to do X, Y, Z. I need to go here and there. Now change that, or feel that energy, what it means, and now change the tone and change it to a get to. I get to go to work. I get to go to work. I get to work out. I get to wake up today. I get to do the chores today. You see, not to be negative, but there's going to be a time in your life when you won't be able to get to do those things. Because when we pass, we don't. So, if you think about it, there's going to be one more time in your life that you get to go to work. There's going to be one more time when you get to eat. Eventually, right? And that's not in a negative way. There's like, oh my goodness, I get to eat. I get to go to work today. I get to work out. I get to live and love. I get time to make changes. I'm listening to this right now because I'm allowing myself. I get to be able to do this. Notice how that is a whole energetic transformation by just changing one word. Letting go of the need and the have to. It is so limiting. It is so constraining. It is so disempowering. It is so limiting in what is possible. And it absolutely has scarcity and zero gratitude. Some people don't have that. We talked about like the end of our life. There's going to be one more time for everything. And that brings things up. It's okay. Utilize it as a passion and a fuel to go, I get to live. I get to have that hug from someone. I get to spend time with my children. I get to spend time with my family, even if we don't agree. Even though there's some trouble there sometimes. I still get to do it. I have choice. That's what it does. The get to, the word, in this case, the need negates choice. Whereas I get to gives you choice. Think about that. Now you have choice in what you do. And notice the energy of gratitude when you go, do you know what? I get to go to work today. Not everyone does, unfortunately. I get to eat this food that I have. Not everyone else does. I get to have a roof over my every time I sleep, every time I'm at home. I get to have that. Like, that is a level of gratitude that we think about. You see, I was doing a group coaching call of mine in my program, and I woke up early. Now, usually it'll be, I need to work out. But in that moment, I was like, do you know what? I get to go for a run before my call. What does that mean? Well, it means I'm going to have energy. I'm going to have the endorphins. So suddenly that get to actually went to other things, like the benefits of working out. Like how I'm going to show up differently for those in my program. So not only do you change the one word, not only does it change your neurology and your physiology, not only does it change the internal dialogue from the inner critic of needs of necessity to now reclaim your freedom and your choice. It's semantics, it's linguistics, but language has meaning. It really, really does. And the things that you say to yourself, your unconscious mind is always absorbing, whether you like it or not. When you say, I need to go here, and you have that negative feeling, or if you go, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy on the inside, guess who's listening? It's not just you, it's your unconscious mind, and your unconscious mind responds to the suggestions that you give it. So when you go, when you go, I have to, I need to, your unconscious mind also goes, what, we have to do this? I need to do this? But when you start to interrupt the pattern, when you start to change the story, when you get to change the meaning behind the things that you say to yourself and even others, you get to choose. You get to feel differently. So whenever you hear yourself saying, I need to or have to, remember, really remember, not just the get to, but remember the consequence. that not everyone gets to. You get to breathe. You get to eat. You get to live. You get to love. You have the choice to. You have the options to. Otherwise, we're just limiting ourselves. And to me, that's not a way to live. Break free of the walls that we build up inside. Break free of the cages that we've built by having those linguistic presuppositions that we speak to ourselves. Because that's what they are when you think about it, right? It's a presupposition. I don't want to go too much into the language. I'm really keen on language. I'm not very good at foreign languages at all. I'm still trying to master my native language of English at times. Hence why I make mistakes on podcasts, hence why I say words differently. Sometimes I make up words, and that's okay. I give myself a little bit of grace because it is always recorded live, and I'm trusting my unconscious mind at times. But when I really think about, like even just now, I forgot what I was about to say. But if I think about it, when I think, the linguistic assumptions, that's what they are, right? See, thank you, unconscious mind. When we think about the words that we say, they are assumptions that we think are true. That's what they are, assumptions. They're not necessarily true, but based on what we think is true, if we assume it to be true. So therefore, we go on that narrative. Now, you could have the belief that I'm not good enough. Well, is it actually really true? Well, it's true for you because you assume it to be true, but can it change? Yeah. Some people say, I'm always anxious. And I'm like, what? Even watching a movie? Have you ever watched Step Brothers? Have you ever watched these other funny movies in the world? You're probably going to laugh and not be anxious in that moment. So being conscious of the meaning behind the words, the linguistics, the energy about it. Now, I'm trying to remember while I'm speaking about how we assume things to be true, and I think it was Alfred Korbisky. I may be wrong, I cannot remember the book he wrote, but he was like a lecturer, and he was saying about how words have meanings and how we bring them to be true. And it's not the best, right? It's not the fun for those in this classroom. But what he did was he offered people a biscuit. Like in England would call it a biscuit, but it'd be like a cookie type of thing, right? Now, as he gave them all a cookie, they all said, it was really nice. And he asked, well, did you enjoy it? Yeah, it was really tasty. And in that moment, he said, did you know what? Do you know that's actually a dog biscuit? Now, in that moment, everyone's like, oh my goodness, I had a dog biscuit. It caused them to have this evoking reaction. But they didn't have it in the beginning because they didn't have the meaning of a dog biscuit. Like I said, it's a bit of a funny experiment to do, and I would not want that to happen. But it's interesting the meaning that we have, or the meaning that we assume to be true. You see, Alfred Korbisky, if I'm remembering correctly, he had a meaning. This is a cookie. This is a biscuit for humans. So they assumed that to be true. There was no issue. They actually enjoyed it. But as soon as he changed the meaning, he changed the reaction, the biological reaction of a person. So if that is possible, which we know that to be true, think about the meanings you have on your own words. Think about the meanings that you imply, which either are restrictive or liberation. So I don't know about you, but I get to be here on this live stream of the podcast, youtube.com/Joseph Clough if you ever want to attend live. I get to create free content. Even I could be thinking, well, it takes me 7-8 days of my working week that I put for free time in creating these podcasts, right? That's what I get to do. I even call myself that. I could come about, but I have to do this. I need to do this, otherwise people are not going to get their help, or maybe the X, Y, Z, people are going to think bad. Like, I could have all those illusions in my mind. But I get to be here. And to me, that's powerful. That gives me the choice. So ask yourself today, what do you get to do today? What did you get to do today? What you thought in the past was maybe a limitation. But maybe that limitation was someone else's greatest liberation of freedom because they did not have that. It changes the frame. It changes the meaning. And maybe it gives us a little bit more grace and gratitude for the things we do get to do. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I got to do it, and you got to be here, and hopefully you got to learn. I changed from get to got there, but you know what I'm trying to say. So if you haven't got my work yet, you can go ahead to freehypnosis.app, where you can download my free hypnosis app. Has all the free audios in there, 809. You can create custom hypnosis tracks. You can go ahead, transform in the day. You can transform it in the night by toggling the sun to a moon, and it goes into a nice sleep session. And ultimately, it's there to support you. And if you ever get the opportunity to leave a review, I would be, if you ever get, there you go, right? You ever get the opportunity. I don't want you to need to do it. I don't want you to have, well, oh my goodness, I've got to have to do a review. I want you to go, I get to leave a review because I've got value from this. So your choice after all. But if you ever do, I really greatly appreciate it. And in fact, you can go ahead and leave a review by going to josephclough.info/review. It'll be very beneficial to me in terms of helping more people in this world, because your review, your words, as we've now discovered, matter. Not just for you, but those who listen or even read when it comes to the review. And hopefully we can give other people the opportunity to transform through all the free work. I don't mind spending all the hours doing it, like the 7-8 hours per week, creating the content, organizing it. I don't mind the expense. I get to do that, which I love. So just enjoy all the free work if that's the case. But anyway, I digress. I wish you the best rest of your day because you get to live it. Okay, you get to. So with that, many thanks and goodbye.